name is Kathy, and today I'll be continuing the discussion on Bach flower essences with Wild Rose. But before I do this, I wanted to let you know that because I have a great many videos now on many different topics, that I decided to make several different video playlists so that it's easier to find the videos of greatest interest. So please check out my playlist page. When trying to determine which Bach flower essence to use, it's necessary to understand the characteristics and symptoms of the essence from a psychological position. This is because the Bach flower essences work on the subtle bodies of the human subtle anatomy field. For healing to take place, you need to look at the situation from this different level. So, what are the characteristics of Wild Rose? The Bach flower essence of Wild Rose is used as the basic treatment for apathy, lack of drive, resignation, pathological resignation, convalescence, or illness that saps the energy. It's used to treat all pathological conditions related to a lack of drive, resignation, or lack of willpower. In daily life, it's used to treat lack of interest and enthusiasm. The Wild Rose condition is characterized by adaptability, dedication, and a certain awareness of fate. When positively developed, the Wild Rose type is able to adapt to constantly changing situations without losing sight of the positive side. These people have no problem with their destiny because they give themselves up fearlessly and without resistance to the greater powers that determine everything in their lives. They are realistic in the best sense. They never try to make things that they have already happened into something else. Instead, they have an innocent, positive attitude that allows them to take everything as it comes. Their lack of prejudice and refusal to take things for granted makes it difficult for them to encounter any situation that will make them unhappy. They allow themselves to be taken by the whims of fate, dreamily, playfully, and willingly. They never look at reality with preconceptions or stubborn ideas. They can see things with an inner freedom and innocence that allows them to make the best of everything they encounter. When negatively expressed, the Wild Rose type's passive, accepting nature can get the better of them. In this case, they allow themselves to go through life without will or drive, and they have no interest in their life. A kind of resignation happens to them that has a hint of a departure from life. They are no longer able to clearly assess their situation, to take reasonable countermeasures when required, or to ask for help. The Wild Rose condition does not usually consist of extreme resignation, but of a lessened enthusiasm and a tendency just to let things run as they are. You get the impression that they use only a fraction of their potential and does not develop themselves fully. They are not able to accomplish as much as they should and needs to stop and rest often, which leads to a limited life. If they happen to start a project, they immediately come to a halt. Their potential remains unfulfilled. They just hang around aimlessly. And even when things are not going well for them, they can't seem to muster what it takes to pick themselves up to do anything about it. These people will do nothing to change an unhealthy living situation, so they remain in a bad marriage, and they'll take any wretched situation as it comes. If their behavior were a conscious and aware answer to an unavoidable circumstance, it would make sense as a kind of survival tactic. However, in the case of the Wild Rose type, it is a sign of a pathological lack of interest and vitality and an extensive loss of creativity. The Bach flower essence of Wild Rose is used to stimulate an interest in life. It helps to foster an interest in life and makes us more interested and invested and more open and enthusiastic. It minimizes indifference, mental passivity, and resignation. If it is found that these symptoms appear in connection with an illness, they could accompany a decisive deterioration, and wild rose is then indicated. Wild rose is generally helpful during any phase of convalescence and should be used in conjunction to medical treatment in any case of anemia, vitamin or mineral deficiency, or other organic conditions. Resignation in people should by no means be confused with an acceptance of fate. This distinction becomes especially clear when we examine the wild rose condition. Acceptance of fate means trusting ourselves to the hands of fate because we recognize a greater positive power, or being, the Creator, at work. With this attitude, we can learn to accept reality and strive to make the best of it. We still try to fulfill our desires the best we are able, but we also know enough to give up when we recognize we are in over our heads. We can change our plans without any regrets. Resignation, on the other hand, means rejecting fate. Where acceptance of fate is distinguished by positive expectations, resignation means troubling ourselves with only those things that we encounter directly, and living our lives without resistance, without investing ourselves, and without active participation. In such instances, life just passes us by. Resignation is still a pathological phenomenon, even when it is not extreme. It can affect our physical function in the form of bad posture, a weak spine, poor circulation, or a reduced sex drive. Typical wild rose types share a lot of similarities with centaury, larch, and olive types, and they are usually the product of mistreatment in early childhood by dominating, egocentric parents or teachers. This type of childhood experience downplays the tendency to complete things and causes the child to lead a sort of shadow life, undemanding, sweet, and unobtrusive. They become used to suppressing their wishes for happiness and self-realization, and instead learns to accept with obedience whatever is allowed. This profound loss of natural initiative and enthusiasm dominates a person's character later in life and makes them into a person who is unable to follow through. Individuals who are resigned become ill much more easily than more life-affirming types. Conversely, a serious illness can cause us to be resigned and lose our will to live and our will to become healthy again. This is always a bad sign. There are several distinct phases in an illness. The apprehensive phase, in which we fight actively and vitally against an encroaching illness. The frustration phase, in which our aggression abates. The depressive phase, in which our aggression is blocked and our behavior becomes more self-defeating. And resignation, the final phase before death, which means that we are broken, we have given up the fight and are ready for the end. The wild rose condition is not easily overcome. In any case, it's important to determine whether an organic illness or some deficiency, such as vitamins and trace elements, might play a role, and institute the appropriate treatment. Sometimes resignation is a consequence of a severe but passing psychic trauma. In this case, we need only wait, in quiet, until the psyche rebounds. Long-term loss of enthusiasm or initiative is more difficult to combat, and it can have far-reaching effects on a person's overall behavior. The wild rose type usually finds it challenging to pull themselves up. This would indicate the recovery phase of an illness, and they often need help. This help must include supporting them while they become healthy again. Giving them words of encouragement is not enough. Even when we can persuade them to act, after a short time they will lose interest and their troubles will be right back again. Wild rose types do not have a natural, innate positive attitude. The tendency here in difficult times is to let things run their course, which indicates a pathological inclination to leave everything up to fate. Wild rose types need to find a better, more personal, and more conscious relationship to whatever gives meaning to their lives. But they can't come to this point because they've been cut short in their quest for self-realization. Finding meaning in life means having a goal. Having a goal allows us to channel our strength and to become more active. Finding meaning in life means living with our senses open and discovering whatever makes us happy and whatever our hearts need. Psychotherapy can be useful for the wild rose type by making them aware of how their self-realization is being stifled and which desires and ongoings they are sacrificing. When they finally have the courage to reward themselves with what they need and to take what they deserve, and when they are finally able to let themselves be happy, the life-affirming spirituality within them will awaken. Some common combinations of wild rose with other Bach flower essences are as follows. Combined with century, it helps with resignation due to a weak personality. Combined with chestnut bud, it helps with being distracted and resigned. Combined with clematis, it helps with resignation and a longing for death. Combined with gentian, it helps with resignation and a weak will. Combined with gorse, it helps with total resignation. Combined with honeysuckle, it helps with wistful resignation. Combined with hornbeam, it helps with a lack of drive caused by stress and overwork. Combined with larch, it helps with a lack of drive due to a lack of self-confidence. Combined with mustard, it helps with depressive resignation. Combined with olive, it helps with a lack of drive due to exhaustion. Combined with Star of Bethlehem, it helps with resignation resulting from mental and emotional trauma. Combined with wild oat, it helps with a lack of drive stemming from a sense of meaningless and futility. I have a great many videos now on many different topics, and so I've decided to make several different video playlists so that it's easier to find the videos of greatest interest. So please check out my playlist page. Well, that's it for now. To stay up to date with my latest videos, make sure to subscribe to this free YouTube channel by clicking the red subscribe button right below this video. Take care.